For this gasket detail, we're going to start with a brand new drawing. We won't be opening up a file and then saving it as a different file. So in this Windows version, we can either pick the plus sign right here to start a brand new drawing, or we can go up to the red A and down to New and over to Drawing. There is an icon up here also that is for creating a new drawing. If you go with this route of the New and Drawing, you may get a dialog box that shows all the templates. The template that's the default template in AutoCAD is this ACAD DWT. You want to make sure that you use that one so that we have the same template. Okay, now you can go and save the file by either clicking on this little floppy disk icon or again coming here and picking save. Save it with the appropriate assignment number for this gasket detail. I'm going to turn off the grid, and the icon is at the very bottom next to the word model. I'm going to go ahead and click on this icon that's blue, making it gray so that the grid is off. Now I'll go quickly with this detail since this is one of the assignments after we've already drawn a few. So I'm going to start the line command, click a point, pull my mouse straight to the right, type in 10 and enter, then pull my mouse straight down. Make sure you see that green tracking vector there. Pull your mouse straight down and type in 6 and enter. Pull your mouse straight to the left, type in 10 and enter, and then C for close or pick close in the command line. I'd also like to point out to you that the fourth icon right there, polar tracking, is blue so that we can see those green extended tracking vectors. So now we have a box that's 10 by 6 according to this gasket. We know that we can use the offset command to create several different things here, like the location for the circles and the location for this other opening here. So let's start with the offset command of 0.75 for these circles. I'll start the offset command. I'll type in 0.75 and enter. I'll pick here the line on the right and pick to the left. The one on the top, select it, pick below it, pick the bottom one, or select the bottom one and pick above it, and now we have our location to draw those circles. I'm also going to continue with the offset right here of this 2.5 from this 0.75. So I'm going to select this new line, pull my mouse to the left and type in 2.5 and enter. We also have another offset right here of 6.375, and that's from this far right line. So I'm going to select this right line, pull my mouse to the left and type in 6.375 and enter. Since I'm here, I know that I have an offset at the bottom for this 3-point arc of 0.25. So I'm going to click on the bottom line, pull my mouse up and type in 0.25 and enter. And we also have half of 1.75 right here. So half of 1.75 is 0.875 for this 3-point arc. So I'll go ahead and select this center line, pull my mouse to the right and type in 0.875 and enter, and then select that same line and pull my mouse to the left and type in 0.875 and enter. Now I'm set up for that 3-point arc. I also need a line that is half of 6 for this other center line. So I'll just pick the very top line, pull my mouse down and type in 3 and enter. We have a lot of other offsets here on the left side that we can work with, but I think I'll start drawing things in so that it's not so busy. We'll do a little bit of trimming so that we can get those lines out. Okay, so I'll use my escape key to get back to the command line. Now I'm ready to draw my circles. Diameter 0.75. So I'll go up to circle, center diameter, click here at the intersection of these lines and type in 0.75 and enter. And I'll do it again. Circle, center diameter. I'll click here at the intersection of these two lines, and it's already 0.75 in the command line down there, so I'll just press enter. Okay, we also have circles here to make up this slot. So we have a radius of 0.375. So I'm going to go up to circle, center, radius, pick here at this intersection and type in 0.375 and enter. And then another circle, it looks like a radius of 0.875. So circle, center, radius, I'm going to select here and 0.875. Great. Okay, I haven't made up any layers yet. I'm just kind of drawing the objects first, and then I'll put them on the right layer to show you how to do that. I do have a 3-point arc right here at the bottom, so I'll go to arc 3-point, and I'm going to pick here at the start point of the arc, here at the second point, and then here at the end point. So as you can see, there are several ways of drawing this detail. You can start with your fillets, you can start with your circles and your offsets. It's really up to you. This is a way that I started to work with this drawing. So maybe now I'll work with the fillets on the corner. We have here 2 fillets, radius of 0.75. So I'll come up to fillet here, start the fillet command. I'll pick multiple or type in M for multiple, and then radius. We did this before, and type in 0.75 for the radius. Now I'm ready to pick the top line and the line to the right. There's my fillet, and the bottom line and the line to the right. And now I have these 2 fillets. I'm going to press the escape key. At any time you can set up your layers. You can typically set them up at the beginning of the drawing, or use a template that has those layers that we worked with before in other assignments. So let's go ahead and set up our layers. We're going to go to layer properties right here, and then in this layer properties palette we're going to pick here the new layer icon. It's that stack of papers with the sun right there. We'll type in objects and press enter twice, and then it looks like we're going to need to have a hidden line, so I'll just make it hidden lines, the layer name, and press enter twice. We also need center lines. I'll make it all one word, or center. And then one more layer I like to use is going to be dim text, D-I-M-T-E-X-T. I like to put my dimensions and my text on the same layer. And now we have those 4 layers. One is center lines, one is hidden lines, we have dim text, and we have objects. Whether you spell it the same as me, it doesn't matter. And now each one of those layers can have its own color. So go ahead and click on the word white there and change this color to whatever you'd like. You're working with a black background, so I think it would be good to use brighter colors. I'm using a white background, so you don't need to use the same colors that I'm using. I'm going to go ahead and change these colors here. I'll leave the objects layer white. Like I said, your colors will be different. Maybe you'll use yellows and greens. As long as you have different colors, you can make sure everything's on the right layer. So for the center lines layer, we want to change the line type. So we'll click on the word continuous and see that only one line type is loaded. So now we're going to click on the load button and scroll down to center. We can highlight center and pick OK, and then make sure that you select center right here for your line type and then pick OK. You see how it changes that layer to center. We'll go to the hidden lines layer and click on the word continuous. Pick the load button and scroll down to hidden, that first one there. Now I could have loaded both center and hidden at the same time and then just changed them within the layers, but I decided to give you a little more practice here. We've loaded the center line and now we're loading the hidden line, and now just make sure that you highlight hidden and pick OK so that that layer becomes hidden. We also want to change the objects layer so that it's bolder. When we print this for our portfolios later, we will be able to see the bold line for the objects. So for the objects layer, under the line weight column, we're going to click on default and scroll down and set that at 0.60 millimeters and pick OK. Now we know that we're going to more than likely draw on the object layer, so I'm going to double click on that little sheet of paper just to make that the current layer. And now we can close out of the dialog box. Now we already started drawing all of these objects, so what layer are those on? Well, you can just rest your pointer on the object and find out it's on layer 0. So just to make this simple, I'm going to select everything. I'm going to click and pull my mouse across and select everything. And then I'll go to this layer drop down and put it all on the objects layer. In fact, maybe I'll change the color of the objects layer here just so that it's something different. Make it purple. Now when I press my escape key, you'll see that it's all on the object layer. We do need to change a few things, like we know that this line right here should be on the center line layer, so we'll select it and go to the drop down and pick right on center lines, and there it is. It looks like a center line. I can escape out of that. So this is good practice for you to be able to change the layer to make sure that it's on, the objects are on the right layer. Okay, we are done using some of these lines, so I can erase this one because I used it for the top of the arc. I can select and erase these two because I used them for the arc specifically, and also really erase these other two lines that we used for the circles. Later on we'll be able to put a center mark in there. So those lines here, I'm going to right click and pick erase to kind of clean it up a little bit better. I'm going to show you how to use center marks. So I'll take these other two lines out and we'll use the center mark tool later when we dimension. So we'll erase these two lines, right click and erase, or pick the erase icon. Now we know that these two circles need to be on the hidden layer, but I'd like to show you first how to draw a line tangent, 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 tangent right here. There are a couple different ways, and we're talking about object snaps. So if I start the line command and I hold my shift key and press my right mouse button, I'll get a menu here that overrides all the other object snaps and goes specifically to tangent. So I'm going to go ahead and click on tangent, and when I get close to this circle I can see the little tangent mark. I can click. Then I hold my shift key and I press and let go of my right mouse button to get this menu and pick tangent again and come over to the other circle and click, and then right click and pick enter. That's one way. Another way would be to come down here into your object snaps and pick up tangent. When you do that and you start the line command and you go close to the circle, you see how the quadrants kind of take over a little bit? So I'm going to also temporarily go back to Object Snaps and turn off, just temporarily, my centers and my quadrants. Those two are the two that override the tangents. So you can either turn on and off these Object Snaps, or you can use the menu that I just showed you for the other one. So now that I have the center and the quadrants off and the tangent on, I can start the line command, go close to this circle at the bottom. You can see the little tangent. It's called Deferred tangent circle with a line on it right there, that little green Object Snap marker. And click, and then come over here and click. Right click and enter. This is how you can draw a line tangent to two circles. We also know that these are going to be on the hidden layer, so I'm going to select these two circles and these two lines and go to the layer drop down and get practice with putting them on the hidden lines layer. Okay, use your escape key to get rid of the grips. Now, you probably remember you can use the trim command to trim out these inner circles as long as you use tangent to touch these two circles. So I'll go ahead and start the trim command. And in this newest release, like I said before, 2021, you can just go ahead and start trimming. If you have 2020 or anything earlier, when you start the trim command, you press enter, and then it brings you to the same idea of being able to take out those objects that you don't need back to the first cutting edge. Okay, so since I'm here, I can also, and I'm trimming, take out these two lines at the bottom here next to a part of this arc to make it clean here, clean cut. All right, so now let's take a look at this left edge here. You could be resourceful and just draw lines and then draw the diagonal, or you can use the chamfer command. The chamfer command is really great because it's sort of like fillet, but you're based on a distance from the corner. So if you take a look, we have distance 1 potentially as 1, and then distance 2 is 1.375. So I think it would be a great idea for you to use the chamfer command. Let's go ahead and start the chamfer command. We're going to pick multiple because we have 2, and then we're going to pick distance. And for our first chamfer distance, look at your command line. We're going to type in 1 and enter. But there's a second chamfer distance right here, so you have to really watch your command line. The second chamfer distance is going to be 1.375 and enter. Now it's saying to select the first line. Well, because we set up the 1 as being the first one, we want to make sure we pick the top line first, and then the line on the left. And now we can click on the bottom line right here and the line to the left. And we have our chamfers on the left hand side. I'm going to escape out of that. Now taking a look at this circle here, what we have is we have a dimension of 1.5 to the end of the circle right here, but we have a radius of 0.5. So if we think about it, the radius is going to be from the center of the circle out to the end of the circle. So we can create an offset of 1 from the line on the left side to start our circle. So we'll do that. We'll start the offset command. We'll type in 1 and enter, and then we'll pick this line at the far left and pick to the right. Now we also have an offset of half of 1. So we'll click the center line right there, pull your mouse up and type in 0.5 and enter. Click on the center line again, pull your mouse down and type in 0.5 and enter. Escape out of that. These two lines are on the center line, so we're going to select those two so that we can go to the layers and change the layer to object right there. Escape out of that, and now you're ready to draw your circle. So we have a circle with a radius of 0.5. We'll go up to circle center radius. Click right here for the center of the circle and type in 0.5 and enter. And there it is. Now, since this line is so far over here, I probably would select it and use grips to stretch this back. I'm going to go ahead and use grips to stretch this back. One thing I just noticed is that I did not turn back on my object snaps for center and quadrants. I was able to, though, click on the intersection of these two lines. So I would suggest that you go back and you turn on your centers and your quadrants, which we use more often, and we can turn off our tangent for this example. Okay, so we need to trim. A little more practice here. We can start the trim command and click out these lines that we don't need so that we can get this kind of notch out here. And escape or enter to end the command. I'm going to show you how to draw center lines, so I'm going to go ahead and delete this line that we used for the offset. I'll select it and then pick erase. And we'll go ahead and draw this polygon. This polygon has here 8 sides. So we'll go up to underneath the rectangle tool here at the top left. We'll go ahead and click on polygon, or you can type in the word polygon. The first thing that you'll see in the command line is that it's asking you to enter the number of sides. So we'll go ahead and type in 8 and enter. Now it's asking you to click on the center point of the polygon. So I'm going to click on right here, the center of these two lines. And now inscribed or circumscribed, we talked about this a little bit, where it depends on where the radius is. I'll just show you by clicking on circumscribed about the circle. And you see where my pointer is? My pointer is at the midpoint of that line, which is what we need because we only have over here a dimension of 1. So we want to pull our mouse straight up and just type in 0.5, which is half of 1, and enter. So I use circumscribed and not inscribed to get the right end results because the radius was not from the center to the corner, but it was from the center to the midpoint of one of the lines on the polygon. Okay, also we have here a circle with a diameter of 3. So I'll go ahead and change the layer to center. You should get used to doing that. So drop this list down of layers and click right on the word center line. Now I can go up to circle center diameter, click here the center of this intersection right here and type in 3 and enter. We know that we're going to be using polar array for these circles, but the circles are on the object layer. So we'll go back to the layer drop down and click right on the word objects because we're going to draw one of those circles. It looks like the smaller circles are diameter of 0.5. So we'll go up to circle center diameter and I'll just draw the one at the far left right here at the intersection of the center line and that circle that we drew and type in 0.5 and enter. Now I have my first circle. I'm ready to use polar array. I can go up to here, polar array, select that circle as your object. Really watch your command line. And then enter. You have to tell AutoCAD that you're done when you see select objects. You can enter on the keyboard or you can right click. And now it's asking for the center point of the array, which is going to be, again, that same center point right there. And in this case, if you look at the items, it's already 6 by default. So we need 6, we're done. We can pick here close array and we have our array. Now we're ready to draw this little 90-degree V shape here. So we know that it's 1.5 from the beginning of these diagonal lines. So let's create an offset that's 0.75, or half of that. So we'll go ahead and start the offset command, type in 0.75 and enter. Select this object right here and pick to the right. Select that same object and pick to the left. Now that we know, I can go ahead and escape. Now that we know that we have these starting points for the diagonal, we just need to make sure that when we draw these, we're going to draw them at 45 degrees so that we can have this 90 degrees. There are several different ways of doing this. I'd like to show you that we can use polar tracking. The way that the drawing was set up the last time that we used AutoCAD, we used 45 here at the bottom. So right next to polar tracking here, the fourth icon over, click on that little arrow and make sure that the check mark is in front of 45. That way you can draw lines that are incremental at 45 degrees. And since my object layer is current, I can start the line command, click here at the beginning of the diagonal line, and pull my mouse over. You see it's incremental 45 degrees, so all I need here is a shorter or longer line that is going to be 135 degrees or incremental 45. So I'm going to go past this line and click, and then right click and enter. Now I'm going to start the line command again and start from this beginning of the other diagonal. Now it doesn't really matter how long they are. I just want to make sure that they're 45 degrees. So I'm going to go ahead and click beyond it just to show you and enter. We don't need these longer lines anymore, so I'm going to select those two lines and erase them, and I'm ready to trim. I can start the trim command and trim out these extra pieces, anything that's extending here, so that we have this 45 degree notch out that becomes the 90 degrees. Okay, so I think that covers how to draw the different elements. We want to make sure that we have things on the right layer. So I'm going to click on this line right here and drop down my layers and put that on center lines too. Okay, as an introduction to line type scale, you can see that my line types, like the hidden line and the center lines, are a little bit bigger than the drawing, the handout. So what I'll type in, and I'd like you to type in LT scale. It's all one word, LT scale, and enter. And we talked about this a little bit, and we'll be using it a lot more later. The LT, or line type scale factor, is set up as 1. But if you look at this drawing, it looks a little bit tighter, so I'll type in 0.5, try that out, and enter. You see at 0.5, that's half of the line type scale. It looks a little bit closer to what we have in the drawing. We also can pick up our center lines. So let's go ahead and make the dim text layer current. And then in the Annotate tab, so we're not in the Home tab anymore, at the top left we'll go to Annotate. And you'll see here that there's a center lines panel, and we can click center mark, and then we can select this circle and select this circle here and even this one here to place those center marks. It's not real clean because the center marks that will come with the dimensions are a little bit different scale, but this is the way that AutoCAD is set up by default. Okay, so let's go ahead and dimension. We have here, if we go back to the Home tab, our dim text layer is current. We can go ahead and go to the Annotation panel in the Home tab. So I went back to the Home tab, and like we did earlier, we're going to use linear instead of using this big dimension icon. So we're going to click on linear, and just like we did before, I'm going to go ahead and click at the far left, come over and click at the end of this fillet right here, pull my mouse up here and click. Now the first thing that you'll see is by default the precision is 4 places to the right, and we need it to be 3 places for most of them. So let's go ahead and type in D and enter and pick the modify button. This is what we did before. We can go to the primary units tab, and right here we can change our precision to 0.000. Also, you can see that all of these numbers here don't have a leading 0. So it doesn't say 0.75 or it doesn't say 0.375. So in this primary units tab, we can also put a check mark in leading at the bottom left corner in the primary units tab here for 0 suppression. It's going to suppress that 0, and we'll go ahead and pick OK and close. Continue dimensioning your linear dimensions. Here you can make sure you click the endpoints. You can even right click to repeat the dim linear so that you can continue your dimensions. I'll just go ahead and put these in real quick. Now also remember we said that when you're dimensioning, if you want to line up a new dimension with an existing one, just bring your pointer over to the existing arrow so that we know that it's completely lined up for you right there. So I'm going to continue with dim linear to pick up more of these dimensions. We have here the 0.25, and we have over here the 1.75. We have the 0.75 here, and over here we have 3 from the bottom to the center, and 2.5 from the center of this circle to the center of this circle. 2.5. We also have 1 for this polygon right here, and we do have an angular dimension right here. So we can go over to linear, the linear drop down, and go all the way down here to the third one, angular, and select here these 2 lines. Pull your mouse out and click. Oh, I just saw another linear right here, one that I need, so I'll go back to linear, which is now underneath angular, and pick the far right, and here the center line for that 6.375, and line it up with the existing dimension here by clicking on it. Good. Okay, now this bothers me a little bit to have this 90 right over the line, so I'm going to go ahead and click on it. Click inside the grip that's closest to the text and just pull it over a little bit and click. Use your escape key to get rid of the grips. So this is a way that you can move the text around. Okay, we have also a few other types of dimensions like this radius that we can use. It will look a little bit different in the drawing, which is okay. Underneath linear, let's pick radius and select this arc. Pull your mouse out and click for radius of 0.5, and also another radius over here of 0.375. We also have a radius here at the bottom for the fillet, and we have a diameter for the 2 circles, So we'll go here underneath linear to get diameter and click on this circle at the top for the diameter. Now we need to add a little bit of text here. We can double click right on the text. You see the blinking cursor or flashing cursor right there. It's right where we need it. We're just going to type in 2 space X space and then click in space. And there it is. So here I'm going to, I can show you here, if you escape out of that, you can double click on the text, and because the blinking cursor is at the beginning of the text, I can type in 2 space X space and then click in space. So let's take a look. I'm going to escape out of that. Let's take a quick look and see if we have it all. We have these dimensions. We have one more text. We have a couple more here. So let's go ahead and get this note, which looks like it's diameter. We might as well start with that. So we'll go over to diameter underneath linear, select just this one circle, pull your mouse over and click. Now we have to add a note to this, so I'm going to double click, and before the diameter of 0.500, I'm going to type in 6 space X space, but then I'm going to use the arrow keys to arrow over past the diameter of 0.5 and then press enter to get to the second line and type in each with my cap locks on, EASPA, and then at each space at 60, and now there's the degree symbol. We said earlier that we have the degree symbol or the diameter symbol underneath symbols. And if you take a look, degrees is percentage D. We had said in an earlier video that diameter was percentage C. So I'll just go ahead and go under symbols and pick degree percentage D. And there it is. I can click in space and I have my note there. It's okay that it's not in line with this. There are ways of fixing that also. We also have another diameter here, so we'll go up to diameter underneath linear and select this bigger circle of diameter of 3. There it is. Okay, let's take a quick look. We have all of our dimensions. There's a dimension right here. Okay, so I have to add linear from here to the end of the circle. There it is. And I think I have it all. I might want to move this arrow over just a little bit since it was close to that circle. Oh, one more. There it is, radius. So I'll go up to linear and down to radius. Select this circle and pull my mouse over and click. Okay, so now I can put a title on it. I'm going to go to annotate here, annotation tab. I'm still in the home tab, and now I'm in the annotation panel. I'm going to go to text and multi-line text, and then I'm going to click down here, pull my mouse over and click. And now for this assignment, you can put your cap locks on and type in assignment and then the number of the assignment. And if you'd like, we can even type in gasket and then put your name underneath it right there. Hold your left mouse button down and drag it across assignment 10, gasket, or whatever the assignment number is. Double check that, and then pick underline or U up here to underline that title, and then click in space. There it is. Now we have the project drawn. Let's go ahead and check for printing. We can click on the printer at the top, the little printer icon. And just to show you this as an introduction, we want to be able to verify our line weights. We can change the printer plotter name to whatever your printer is. If you're printing for your portfolio, I'm hoping that you can print some of these and put them in to a portfolio for any future interviews. I'm going to go ahead and use this PDF temporarily. And then we said that we can create a window. So where it says plot area, what to plot, I'm going to drop down display and pick window. And so what you're doing here is you're clicking 2 points that basically put a box or a sheet of paper over your project. So I'm going to start here at the top left, pull my mouse across and click down here. Now I want to put a check mark and center the plot. Usually I want to change my pen assignments at the top right to monochrome. So I'm printing monochrome or black and white, and I'll pick yes for this layout. Always pick apply to layout. That's going to lock in and save those settings, and then always preview. When you click on preview, you should be able to see comfortably that we have the line weights that we need for those layers that are object layers. Okay, good. I'm going to right click and pick exit and cancel out of this. You can print it if you'd like for your reference. And it's up to you if you want to click on some of these numbers and use these grips to pull here the number in between the arrows. If you just pull it up just a little bit more, if you get close enough, you can see that it will throw the arrows on the outside.